Yeah, with another box. Elef well, I wouldn't say that. No, that would be a complete total lie. Obviously, it came courtesy of the post office, and this is a box that I have been looking forward to for a good while, a very long while. In fact, have I got a story to tell about this box? Do I have a story? Well, I do. And unfortunately, it's a long story. It's so long that you'll probably be bored to death of me actually talking about it for so long. So I'm not going to do that. Not before I open the box. I'm going to do it while I'm opening the box. I, that's a fair point, isn't it? That's a fair exchange. You know, there is a big story behind this box, and I need to tell you about it while I'm opening it. It was on a dark and stormy night. Actually, no, that's not. That wasn't true. It was actually during when this product was first announced, and I actually got really excited. So excited that I almost made a video out of it, but I didn't post it in the end, because there were other more important things happening in my life around about that time. But enough about that. Let's start the story, and by extension, start opening this box. So, it all started way back in June of last year, and it was around the 6th of June. No, it would have been before that, when I heard the news that there was going to be a new system by Nintendo that was coming out, and it was a system that I honestly thought I wasn't gonna bother with, in all complete total honesty. But when I actually heard the full news about what this system was about, I thought at that point I had to get it. It had to be part of my repertoire, part of my gaming history, because it was part of my gaming history before it even came out. Don't know how much sense that actually makes. It was already part of my gaming history before it came out in this form, should I say. That's the correct term that you should say. Before it came out in this format. And well, ever since I had my desire for this thing, it was a bit of a journey full of joy and tears and rage and laughter. And we may well know, if you've seen a couple of videos that are already posted up. But yeah, while that was happening, I was trying, to an extent, in all honesty, to get my mitts on this thing here. I don't know if you can see what it is from this point. Pretty sure you can already guess what it is. It's a particular name that could well give you a clue. It's upside down. It's upside down on purpose, because of all these people who can't read upside down. I'm pretty sure that some of you might not have been able to guess what it is yet, but those of you who can, you've guessed already. 10 out of 10 Zelda IGN Breath of the Wild. And 5 stars from Telegraph. Or should I say that? No, I won't say anything about that. Anyway, it's not about Breath of the Wild. I have that already. It's certainly not about the new Nintendo 2DS XL. because I have a new Nintendo 3DS XL already. Well, actually, I don't have Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga a remake just yet. But that one's next, guys. It is indeed about this puppy. Yes, the Super Nintendo Classic Mini. This is the first time I've ever laid my eyes on the real thing. And actually holding it in my hand. I am not kidding. It has taken from June. Well, not necessarily from June, because that's when it was announced. And I did a recording video of it. But this was around the time my mum was still at our house. That was when we announced it. So at that point, I resolved to at least try and grab one of these things. For the moments when I had some downtime to try and get some relief, because look at the games that you get with it. 20 plus 1. 20 plus 1 Vant en jeu. And my French is terrible. 3 stars. Yeah, okay. That's the prayer stars. Whatever. I need to get back on barrel again at some point. It was at the fateful night of June, that game, that company game, finally was able to release some pre-orders of the Super Nintendo Classic Mini, and I snapped one up as quick as I could, because as it was typical, these things just sold out. You know, just the pre-orders just went like mad. Obviously the scalpers and their bots were busy, but I actually managed to get in a pre-order at that point, and so I was gonna get my first bit of hardware from launch. I rarely ever do that. I am rarely ever an early adopter of anything. I think the only system that I've ever got from launch was the Game Boy Advance, and that was a learning experience, because that kind of a mistake, in all complete honesty. It was, you know, it's a great system. I still had absolute fun with it, but the lack of the backlight did kind of hurt me a fair bit, and I, well, from that point, never did just go straight in there. But this was an exception. This is what we were getting, you know, given what happened with the NES Classic Mini, which I have to admit, I wasn't as much of a fan of the Nintendo Entertainment System as I was with the Super Nintendo. For reasons. Don't get me wrong, there are still some awesome games on it, and there are some game franchises that started on there that I really, really love to this day, but they don't resonate with me as much as the Super Nintendo does. So I wasn't that much of a rush to get it, and in all complete honesty, I think I was right not to do that, because not only were those things really difficult to get a hold of at that back then, but after Nintendo just basically said, okay, we're done, we're not doing it anymore, I managed to avoid all of that disappointment. I know a lot of people are really pissed about that, and when Nintendo basically came on with this system and said, we're not going to make the same mistake twice, I kind of thought, well, you probably are, but you know what? don't care. I have to have this. You just can't sit there bleeding watching the chopping box while I'm waffling on about stuff. I'm meant to be opening the thing for Pete's sakes, and I can only do that with one hand, and it's really, really difficult. Anyways, so I managed to get in my pre-order game on the 26th of June, and it wasn't going to come out until the 25th of September, I think it was. And basically around that time I had other worries. So while I really was looking forward to this, and I think I might have showed you before, I did actually get some other things in the meantime, before that, before this came to pass. I might as well show you, actually. Just hold there for a second. Ping, there you go. Oh, slight different angle there, actually. Yeah, this is my the PSP that I was talking about in the last video. Unfortunately, I have to admit, I do love the little bugger. It's awesome. The games are great. I bought the Capcom collection, and holy cow, this machine, I was kind of expecting it to be sort of like, oh, I'm going to get an awesome PSP game, but I'll just end up getting like retro collections for it, because the retro collections you can get are absolutely fantastic. And I got the Capcom Classics collection on that. Still going through that. It's got absolutely tons of great games. Like the decent, the shmups they got on there. I think they're far from there, and they've got Forgotten Worlds, and they've got Legendary, all of those really awesome. They've got the beat 'em ups on there. They've got Captain Commando, and there's great games. They even got games that I didn't even know, that I haven't even seen in the arcades that came over here. So that was great. I'm still looking for some decent shmupper forms to go with Gradius collection as well. But I haven't been playing this as much as my N3DS XL, I have to admit. Not that I hate this, because I think this is a fantastic machine. I just don't play it as much. It's not. I'm not going to consider it a wasted a wasted investment. It's still a pretty awesome machine, and I don't regret getting it. But that's enough about that. I got that before I was able to get this. This particular one, though, I have to admit, didn't come from game. And I'll tell you why in a minute, just as soon as I can get the shopping out of its box with one hand. That's better. Right, now, what do we have here? We have a manual, an operations manual. I guess I have to read it. It's a slightly different setup. Anyways, so this puppy arrived at my house at the 26th of September, but unfortunately around that time, if I recall correctly, there were other things happening in the house. For starters, my mom was in hospital for a very long time, longer than any of us, including Mum, especially Mum, would have liked. And around that time we were kind of anticipating getting home, so there was a number of things that we had to go through before that happened, and thus I wasn't actually able to pick up the parcel that the Super Nintendo came in. Speaking of which, there it is. It's mini, it's small, The autofocus is not kicking in. Hang on a minute. Hold on. To do some weird gerrymandering here. There you go. That's slightly better. And yeah, so I completely, totally missed this first time around, and that was at a point where it was hard to get. I'd already paid like, was it 79 quid for it, which unfortunately was a little bit more than the actual retail price, which I think was like 69 quid. But I had to get it at that point. So I missed it, and they obviously, the game obviously mailed me about that and said, "Oh, I missed it. Do you want to come pick it up?" And I said, "I'll tell you what, leave it at Sainsburys, because there's a Sainsburys about 10-15 minutes from where I live, and I could just walk there and pick it up." And I was so excited at that point that I actually rushed to Sainsbury's. They're going, "Where is it? Is it there? Is it there yet?" And I actually got the notice, and they said, "Is it there yet?" And they were like, "No, it's not there yet. Mate, calm down. It's going to be here tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, well, tomorrow, one, I have to be at work, so I'll hopefully be able to come in the evening to do it." So that was that, and I went in to work again, excited. I know I was going to get this wonderful thing. Is that actual power switch that actually works? Oh, it actually does work. Does the reset button work? Does the eject button work? No. Well, I mean, you're not going to stick a bleed cartridge in this little thing that you won't be able to fit. Anyways, so I went in to work in anticipation of actually able to get this thing. Unfortunately, work was really, really busy there, and much busier than I wanted. There was a job which was basically getting to be on a deadline, and I had to work pretty much through the day at overtime. So I got to Sainsbury's. The pickup point where I usually pick up like these deliveries was closed when I got there, so I couldn't actually collect it. So I thought, well, fine, I'll go in tomorrow. But the next day was actually another really important day that I could not miss, because I was taking my mum to a hospital in central London to see if they could do anything about her lung fluid problem. That accumulated into what I will now say was probably one of the worst, the most stressful experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. I won't talk about it now. Suffice it to say, it didn't help at all, because Mum's no longer with us. After that episode, and we finally got Mum home and into her bed, I essentially just crashed out. I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to stay with Mum and try and comfort her. Well, I had to go into work again on the day following that, and it wasn't so bad this time, so I went off to say, okay, well, after that horrible day, I'm kind of glad that I'm going to be able to pick up my SNES Classic Mini, and we were going to have lots of fun and forget the whole thing ever happened, although it wasn't that simple at the time. Oh, look at this. This is, hands down, my favourite controller ever. It still is, even to this day, and I'm so glad to have it in my hand right now. And it feels just as solid. The travel's perfect. There's actual travel on there, like unlike certain joysticks, joypads I can mention. You know, nice, decent, rubbery select and start buttons, and the face buttons have decent amount of travel. Shoulder buttons are still a bit weird, but still nice and functional. It's all good, man. It's all great. And I would have picked this up earlier on or the next day after, I think it was Tuesday that I went to the hospital, and I was looking forward to actually picking this up. Went to the store. Okay, I'm ready for my Super Nintendo now. I got my passport for ID and everything, and they said we don't have it. And I said, what, why not? And said, someone already picked it up. It's like, what, well, that wasn't me. I didn't pick it up because I was away all day. I had to deal with, I had to be in the hospital to deal with something. And said, well, someone came and picked it up. So they went to do a little investigation, and basically what happened was that the original carriers, the people who delivered it, who I think were DPD, I won't say that right now, non-disclosure or anything like that. Maybe I shouldn't put that name, but that's who the carrier was. They're the ones who actually delivered. They actually delivered it to Sainsburys for them to hold it for me, and it was meant to be held for about 7 days before they could someone could pick up and actually return it. They actually said that in the email that they sent. Well, find out what's happened then. Because I was actually worried, because I have to admit that the area I live in isn't a particularly great. It has its fair bit of crime and people actually, pilfering stuff. In fact, I might as well say it right now. I was mugged outside my own home. That's how bad it had gotten to. But I mean, nothing really had happened to us after that point, so it wasn't so bad. But I was kind of wary even then. At that point, I was like, what's going on? Turns out, after they did the investigation, that one of the guys at DPD decided, because I didn't pick it up when it got there, that they'll just take it back the next day. So around the time that I was having the problems in the hospital, they just took it back without my consent or any kind of warning at all whatsoever. So I went over to Sainsbury's, happy-go-lucky. No, I didn't get any mail about this, and I found out that they've essentially sent it back to Game. I contacted Game. They said, oh, okay, well, we'll take a look at it. And it was like, well, yeah, they sent it back. I was like, great, Carl, am I able to actually get another one? And they said, no, not unless you pay for it again. I was like, but I already paid for it. And they said, well, sorry, there's nothing more we can do. These things are hard to get by and such a thing. So that's it. That was essentially, that was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back. I ordered from Game before, and I didn't have this much problem, but Game honestly don't have a particularly great reputation as it was, and I kind of vowed at that point that I just won't be ordering it from anything from them again, because that was just terrible. And I say that I say that, and then I actually tried to order the special pack of Samus Returns from them as well, the Legacy Edition, which I actually managed to get into the site and actually do. And as soon as I actually tried to put in the order, it went bing, you can't get it. And I was like, why not? Because it's sold out. Sorry for the blank space after that, because the phone ran out of space, so I ended up speaking a lot while nothing was actually happening. So just to carry on from that, as you probably would have told by now, I didn't actually get this Super Nintendo Classic Mini from Game. I actually got it from Nintendo around, I think it was the 27th of November, and the opportunity arrived at Nintendo, so I think I got it off a tweet or something that they had restocked the Super Nintendo Classic Mini, and they were selling it for $79.99 with a USB adapter, which I thought, oh great. So I was at lunch at the time and just minding my own business. I managed to get my phone hooked up to Wi-Fi, and there was a tweet, and I ended up going straight to the Nintendo site, managed to get my order in, and it was set to be delivered in next week. And I thought, great, fantastic. And at that point I thought, at last my journey's come to an end. So all I have to do is wait a couple of days, and I will be united with my brand spanking new step into a significant part of gaming history, at least to me and a whole number of others. If only it were that simple. And this was actually meant to come at the 1st of December. And I don't even know if it got delivered, because you usually get like a card if the parcel is missed. And there's only 2 of us in the house right now. It's just me and my sister, and she's she has to go to work as well. So we didn't even get a card saying that it was missed or not. So it didn't come in December. It didn't come in the first week of December. It didn't come in the second week of December. At that time I was already occupied with Christmas shopping and so on and such. And I didn't get it for Christmas. So I broached Nintendo, and before I actually finish this story, why don't we just hop the chuffing thing up, for Pete's sakes? Right, this is just temporary. I'm not going to have it here all the time. This is just my little rudimentary setup before I actually put it in its proper home, which will be somewhere among all this lot of mess that I've got here that I really need to tidy up. But I got my GameCube and my Wii connected to this crappy old CRT TV, which still works, but I'm hoping to hook the SNES Mini up onto my monitor, which has HDMI. So let's see this work. I'll need a power supply unit, and here's the thing. The reason why I got it from the Nintendo event, and essentially was because it was also giving away this puppy, the USB adapter that will actually put proper power to your machine. I do actually have I don't know if I can get into focus now, for Pete's sakes. Anyways, yeah, I do actually have a couple of USB adapters, but I wasn't necessarily sure about them, so grabbing this at the same price, at the retail price, was pretty much a good deal, and that's why I went for that in the end. So I'm going to hook this up and see if I can get this thing going. I'll see you in a bit, and I'll complete the rest of my story after that. Okay, so we finally got the thing. It's a little bit more complicated than I thought it would be, but it wasn't that hard to figure out, in all complete total honesty. And my desk is still an absolute chopping state. It's about the mess. It's all there now. All I have to do is set up languages, which obviously I'm going to stick with English because, well, I mean, should I be stating the obvious or should I be stating the obvious? I didn't get this for Christmas, and I was obviously a bit disappointed about that. However, I did. Let's see what games we've got here, shall we? Let's have a go cycle through these. Yeah, I did manage to get, I'm looking forward to playing this certainly, a reply from Nintendo customer service saying that they'll have a look into it sometime in January, and that was after I mailed them at the same time saying, "Oi, where's my Super Nintendo? Where's my Super Nintendo Classic Mini?" He said it'll be December the 1st. It's now January. What the heck is going on? And they said, "Well, we'll look into it." They looked into it. They said, "Okay, so we didn't actually deliver it to you. We'll deliver it again." And they most certainly have done that. And now I can play Star Fox 2 for the first time ever. Not even since 1993. That was when I first played Star Fox, and it wasn't even my SNES anyway. It was someone else's. But I played it in the shop, and then I played it at a mate's house, and it was such a cool game. And I get to play it again. I've played. What games haven't I played here? Actually, I've played all of these. The only couple I haven't played, obviously, is Star Fox 2, and I haven't played Super Mario RPG. I haven't played the actual Yoshi's Island. You know, I did a playthrough of Yoshi's Island, but that was the GBA version, because that's the only one I could get. What else haven't I played? I haven't played Final Fantasy 3, and I think that was because it was never released over in Europe. I can't remember if it actually did. I know people banging on about Final Fantasy 3, aka Final Fantasy 6, in the Americas, but I can't actually remember it coming over here. Oh, I haven't played Kirby's Dream Course, but that, of course, I wasn't really that much interested in it anyway. But yeah, most of the others I've actually played, and I might see what fun I can get out of that. Anyways, so yeah, that was my not necessarily a rant, just a story of my trials and tribulations in managing to nab SNES Classic Mini. And I think you can get it in the shops now for about the same price, so there you go. Bar the scalpers have been defeated. Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of them still selling the thing at that 5 times the price for people eager to get their hands on it who don't know that this thing is actually quite well stocked. Anyways, so have you guys had any trials and tribulations in getting this thing as well? Let us know in the comments while we all watch the marvelous Donkey Kong Country intro on my screen. I have to find out how to get the sound through here at some point. And yeah, with that, all that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my sob story. And keep on playing, folks.